Welcome to those tuning into the Assay TV, where I'm delighted to once again be joined by James Lorimer, the Shadow Minister of Mineral Resources South Africa. Welcome.
Thank you.
So just as an introduction to our viewers, can you talk to us a bit about your career and how you got to this role?
Of course, you pick on the one question that politicians really love is to talk about themselves. I have just been re-elected last year to a fourth term in Parliament. And for about 13 years, I've been associated with the mineral and petroleum resources sector. So I've seen the changes in mineral and petroleum in South Africa and our ongoing struggle to make South Africa more investable.
I'm sure we can get into that. Critical minerals, everyone's talking about it. It's the words on everyone's lips. What are your views on the role of critical minerals in Africa's green energy transition, and how can it best utilize its resources?
Well, of course, it's a great opportunity for us, not only in South Africa, but in the whole of Africa. We've got a lot of the minerals that everybody else wants. The important thing is that we need to be able to take them out in an environmentally and socially acceptable way. And sadly, that is not the case in much of Africa. We're all aware of the stereotype of strip mining by virtual slave labor. And that's something that fortunately we don't have too big a problem with here in South Africa. There is illegal mining and it's a problem. But we are unlike other jurisdictions where that is the primary source of mining. It is a huge opportunity for Africa. We have this stuff. Now is the time when we really have to take advantage of the demand for our minerals to establish those industries, ones that are socially acceptable, pay a living wage, work under conditions of safety, and with proper environmental stewardship. So, Africa really dare not miss this opportunity.
So would you say ESG is the core obstacle or, major challenge faced by African continents in terms of making the most of their resources?
It's one of them. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the major one. We've all been very disturbed, I think, by the what's been happening in the Sahel and the combination of resource nationalism and outright piracy that some mining operations have had to contend with. Now, again, that's something that is perhaps a competitive advantage for South Africa. We do have an established mining framework, one that I'm not entirely happy with, I have to say, that I'm continually pushing to change. But nevertheless, the framework is there, and we do have an independent judicial system that will protect people's rights. On top of that, we do have the other infrastructural advantages. We have a transport system that is established, again, not working as well as it should, but it's something that we're working to overcome, and a banking system that's admired by the world. So, we are in a relatively good position compared to the rest of Africa, but it's something also that Africa should strive towards, because only by doing so will we be able to really exploit the advantages that we've been given.
Excellent. Love the honesty there as well. As you've said, this is your fourth term. You've obviously seen the sector change a lot. How do you see it changing going forward? Where do you see the most growth for South Africa in particular?
Okay, we've got a political advantage and a legislative advantage potentially. Now, the political advantage is that the elections in South Africa last year produced a government of national unity, where my party, the Democratic Alliance, became part of government with the African National Congress. It is not the type of coalition where we have influence over everything. Our influence tends to be confined to the ministries that we have, the half dozen ministries, and one of them, sadly, is not mining. However, we do now have a seat at the top table. So we are able to engage government much more directly. And we hope that we can use that to take advantage of the next thing I was talking about, which is the legislative changes that are coming. The African National Congress has said that they will rewrite the basic mining legislation, the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Development Act, the MPRDA. And this is an opportunity to rewrite it in such a way that it is much more investor friendly. There are also a couple of other tweaks we want. We would like to see it more definite and against illegal mining, which unaccountably has not even been a criminal offense up until now. So that is the legislative change that we would like to see happen.
Can you expand on how it's going to make it more investor friendly at all? The specifics or not?
I can tell you what we want. South African mining investment has been constrained because of various demands by government, for example, for racial set-asides and for localized procurement, which are two of the major problems. and we would like to see those lifted. We are making a very strong argument that we, particularly at a time when South African mining has this potential to open up, we can't afford to be left behind. So that is really what we're going to be aiming for over the next year, is pushing not only for those legislative changes, but also for some operational changes. And I think it's important to mention this, is that even things that are on the books as being, time horizons for the issuing of permits are not adhered to properly, because there's this kind of bureaucratic red tape sclerosis which stops people getting their mining permits as they should. And that is something that myself and my team are going to be taking up very strongly this year, is here are timelines laid down for these things to happen. Let's start adhering to them, because that is just an unnecessary annoyance and block to the smooth functioning of mining.
That will certainly be music to the juniors' ears. I'm absolutely sure of that. To round our interview up, can you highlight any projects or developments that you've got your eye on at the moment?
This is a really difficult question because I can't play favorites. There is so much in South Africa that is so good. I mean, coal is still fantastic. We've still got a lot of gold. We've still got the PGMs. I like chrome and I like manganese and I like the potential of rare earths. But I do have a soft spot for copper miners, particularly Orion Minerals, which is trying to get copper going in the Northern Cape Province, Prieska and in the Richtersveld. Both brilliant projects that have suffered from permitting and financing constraints. I do think that they are moving to overcome those, and hopefully this year is going to be their big year.
Certainly sounds it. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
Nice to talk to you.